start your business to go to another level. You must try to learn and hear something new. So make the change today. So don't procrastinate and see your business grow and change. So check out Drastic. So yeah, with Toni Harris Taylor. Toni Harris Taylor. Drastic. So oh yeah, with Toni Harris Taylor. Yeah, yeah.
Hi, this is Toni Harris Taylor with another amazing author of the Lead Loud Entrepreneurs Building Legacy Through Drastic Leadership. And we are here with my friend Scott Bigley, whose business is all about leaving a legacy. So this will be a great conversation. Welcome, Scott.
Thank you, Toni. Always a pleasure to be with my friend, my partner, my colleague, all of it
And,
above. Thanks
and
so much
his
for
little
having me.
sister.
And my little sister. And my little sister. That is true.
So, in your own words, who are you and what do you do?
I am the guy that helps families, business owners protect their most valuable asset, themselves. That's who I am. I'm the guy that helps people realize, hopefully, that in my world, when we're talking about your financial wellness, your financial wealth, whatever we want to call it, that the most important thing that we have to plan for is making sure that we're taking care of ourselves first. That doesn't mean you're selfish, or that doesn't mean that you don't want to be charitable, or that doesn't mean that you don't care about anyone else. But if you don't take care of yourself first, if you don't protect yourself as an individual or your business, meaning yourself, because without you, you run your business, I run my business. If we're not around, there's not much of a business. So hopefully I'm the guy that helps them understand that when we're talking about all these financial challenges, obstacles, goals, dreams, and how we achieve them, the first thing we have to do is protect the most important asset that we have, myself. That's who I hope to be.
Well, that's who you are. And so, in that, I see on your background it says you're a certified financial educator. So, you are a speaker. He has been a speaker on my events multiple times, high energy. I almost want to say he's the evangelist of financial planning because he got some PK, preacher's kid, in him.
It's
And
true.
then he's an author. So not only this project, but in my previous project, he was an author. And so I love bragging on him. And so it's like, why is he not saying these things? Because I love bragging on him because I have seen him evolve. And he is a girl dad and a husband. And so, and again, my big brother, and I love
Thank
you
you.
for that.
Love you too, baby. Love you too.
So when we met, we worked for a corporation, and you actually were my manager. We use the term loosely, but he was my manager.
Hmm.
And when we were let go, why did you
Hmm.
become an entrepreneur? And how has being an entrepreneur shaped the leader you are today?
Well, how I became one, since our paths are just so parallel, Toni, without getting too deep in the weeds, when that happened to you and I back in the day, the industry just for background, Toni was in the financial industry with me at the time. Our industry was just chaotic. It was.
It
Ugh.
was.
So the only avenue that really was available for me and for you, Toni, when you really think about where both of our entrepreneurial journeys began, it was almost one of those blessings in disguise that what happened to us is it allowed us to kind of take the blinders off that The road to success is finding a job with corporate America and putting in your 20, 25, or 30 years and taking your gold watch and your retirement check or your pension check and living happily ever after on the Gulf beaches of Florida. Well, I got half of that right. So that's really what that, or that shock to the system, if you will, is what really got me thinking, well, I might not have to find another path here, because the world that I had been in and you had been in for so many years was just in shambles. The house of cards had come down.
Sure.
So that started me. What's really inspired me to continue on this path, because it ain't easy, it ain't easy, is really, number one, my friendship with you, but number two, the partnership that you have allowed me to have with you. You have been my entrepreneurial inspiration. Watching you take those drastic steps that you've taken has been a real inspiration to me. I've sat back and went, I've known Toni for a long time now. If she can do it, why the hell can't I? So really, what's inspired me to really stay on this path is my personal relationship with you,
Okay.
but also my business relationship with you, and the guidance, the counsel, the training, the coaching, the love, the support, the confidence, all the things that you have given me, because you've been one of the few people other than my wife who have said, it's okay, you can do it. Keep trying.
Yeah.
Keep showing up. Keep being up. Keep following up, and you will blow up. It may not happen by Tuesday,
Correct.
but it will happen. So you have played a big part of, or you have been a big part of the inspiration for me to, after our world, our when we were together, our corporate world,
Yes.
to go, you know what? Well, it's over here. To do this. To
Yep.
say, you know what?
Burn your
I don't
ships.
need to be affiliated with a corporate giant anymore. I've learned a lot. I've developed skills and talents. And thank you, corporate America.
Yes.
But
Yes.
going back to my first point about who am I and what do I do, I had to start practicing what I was going to preach. So if I was going to go out and make money, why am I making it for corporate America? Maybe I should be making it for myself and the people and things that I love the most first.
Okay, so let me say something about that. So when you describe who you are and what you do, you said the very first person we need to protect is ourselves. So I'm going to turn that too and say the very first person you need to lead is yourself. As in, yep. And a lot of times we are leading by example. Um, and like you said, me showing up has inspired you to keep showing up. And you're
Mm-hmm.
right. If Toni can do it, why can't you? And so, absolutely. Um, and yes, our world imploded, and financial services was all we knew at that time. Um, but it has evolved, and so have you. And I've watched you evolve as well. As you are evolving as we speak on this call, you are now doing something drastic. You're getting an
Mm-hmm.
office. You've been home officed all this time. You're getting a physical office. You have to show up for work every day. You're partnering with people in your network to do seminars. And I know these are all drastic steps for you. And what I also am inspired by you is it's never too late to do something different.
Mm-hmm.
So that leads into the next question. In how do you define leadership, and how do you personally lead loud?
Well, thank you for your very kind words. And you're right. These are some drastic steps, because one of the things that you tease me about all the time is I try to use my age as my cover, and you just tell me to be quiet and keep moving. Um, I define leadership as having the courage to look at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm not the smartest guy in the room.
Mhm.
I believe that real leaders know that they're not the smartest guy in the room. The leaders who think they are, in my experience, have not been good leaders. The leaders who understand that great leadership requires that you have the ability to continually learn, continually be open to other suggestions, other ideas, other perspectives, other points of view, but then having the ability to incorporate that as a leader, into whatever your personal business mission and vision is. So if I like the ideas that Toni Harris Taylor is sharing with me from a Drastic Results or a multicultural franchise connectors idea, Toni's ideas are, so how do I take that idea and go, that's a really great idea. So how do I take that idea and make it fit and mold it to my mission and vision? That's what great leaders do. You've heard me say this all the time. When people ask me, Scott, how do you figure out what it is you want to do next? My joke has always been, well, I use the CASE method, CASE, the CASE method. And what that stands for is copy and steal everything. And I really do believe that's what great leaders do. Great leaders have the ability to see a great idea or a great concept or a great thought or see great people and say, they probably got something I could copy or steal. And so, therefore, my learning curve or my improvement curve or my productivity curve or my profitability curve gets vertical
Correct.
because I just take what you've already figured out and make it fit what I'm trying to do. And if I have a trouble doing that, as a good leader, I have to be smart enough to call and say, hey, Toni, I'm stealing something from you. I hope you don't mind. But you do this in your business, and that's real. I see that as really effective, really, whatever it might be. Well, share with me how you might apply that to what I do. And you know what I have found, and I know you have found this to be true too, Toni. 8 out of 10 people are more than willing to
Absolutely.
share it with you. Number one, because they're flat. They're like, what? Really? You think I'm that smart that you think that something I'm doing is cool, is
Correct.
effective? It,
Correct.
so they're more than, so I, and I think that's being a great leader. You've never been afraid to ask for help when you know you're stuck. When you just feel like, and I know we'll probably talk about this in a minute, when you wake up in the morning and go, I don't want to do this anymore.
Right, exactly. And so, and a great leader has the courage to ask for what they want.
Yep.
And so, and you're right, 9 out of 10 people are flattered. And here's the real truth. They probably ripped off and duplicated it from someone else.
Of
And
course
then
they
you're
did.
seizing nothing new under the sun. That's where the saying comes from.
Yeah.
But the fact that you admire what they do, it takes a great leader to say, hey, I don't know all. I need help. Can I use what I see you doing? And yes, and a great leader in most cases is going to say yes, because that's
Yes.
part of being a great leader. So tell me about a moment you had to take a drastic step to grow as a leader, and what did you learn? Just, I know it's all full of moments, but can you single out one?
Well, I think what you introduced here just a few moments ago, and you and I, talked about that on your last trip here in Florida when we were together. I knew that to allow me to say take my business to where I really wanted it to be, or get my business where I wanted to be. And I'm not talking financially. I'm talking about in terms of my mission and vision of helping people understand what we do is we put you first. I had to swallow some pride and set my ego. And you can shake your head all you want because you and I have worked through this for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And take the steps that and and take the steps. And the first step was, and this was a big one for me, and you know this, Toni, because you and I talked about it, was set my ego aside and do what I just said great leaders do, finding someone who could help me get the job done, which led me to entering into a partnership with an affiliated organization who have the resources, the talent, and the capabilities to do things that I don't have the resources, capability, or talent, or quite frankly, want to do. But for me, because this is sometimes what happens with entrepreneurs, is I know best. I'm the only one who can get it done. And so therefore, if I can't do it, it's not worth doing. So for me, the drastic step was making the decision, and again, that you and I have been talking about since the first of the year, of Scotty, you got to put your ego aside, baby.
Yeah.
Come on. These are the you and I sat at my dining room table. You're looking at me going, why are you saying no when you're telling me these are the people that can help you get the job done, but yet you don't, you're still like, what is wrong with you? What's wrong with you? You know,
You know, your wife says Tony's probably one of the only people who can tell you what you need to hear.
that is
And you're
true.
like, yes, dear.
So in answer to your question, I mean, so for me, in a long, probably going back to when we were back in the collapse, yes, there's been other drastic steps, of course, but this is the most recent. So let's stay in the present time of really having to say, okay, if we really want to leverage ourselves and leverage our message and really achieve our mission, ask for help
Yeah.
and begin to let go of some of the things that like I held so like if well
Yeah.
if I can't do it, it's not worth doing.
Right.
Well, that's a that's not good leadership, and and that's what's prevented me from showing up and being up and following up and blowing up. Even though I knew it, and yep, that's the it was like standing right or left at Oak Street, and
Yeah.
everybody's telling me, no, you got to go right, you got to go right. But and you know this better than anybody, I kept saying, yeah. According to you, I'm going left.
Yes. Correct. Correct. Well, what legacy are you intentionally wanting to build through your business?
The legacy I want to build is really, and because of my business, it's not for myself. It's for the families, for the businesses that I hopefully assist. What I do is to build legacies for the individuals that I work with, so that everything that they work their entire lives to achieve really gets to the people, places, or things that they want it to get to.
Yeah.
So my work hopefully creates legacies for everyone else, whatever those legacies may be.
Awesome. So, how's your leadership impacted? Let's start with your family.
Well, if you talk to my family, you'll get an entirely different answer. um, I hope that my leadership, um, I guess my leadership style, and I get a lot of this from my father, who you alluded. My father was a pastor, so a lot of my, I think, leadership style comes just from watching him my entire life. And and my father was a great listener. He had to be, you know.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I've learned to be a great listener. And see, now there's a difference. Listening means you're actually tuned in, you're focused. You know, hearing is our ability
Yes.
to hear the noise.
Sure.
Listening is hearing the noise and then working it around in here and
Sure.
really trying to help. So I think watching my father be a good listener, and one of my father's lessons always was, and always be asking the next best question, because you can never really get to really what's happening, what's the problem, what's the concern, what's the trouble, what's the joy, what's the sorrow, without asking the next best question. So and that's my leadership style. And my family gets a little angry with me at times, when we're dealing with with Jackie. Jackie has a 16-year-old daughter, so I'm kind of back in those again. And Susie gets mad at me because as she's going on and on, it's like, well, Susie, if you did that, what type of outcome would you like? Or blah, blah, blah. I'm always asking the next best question.
Right.
And like most 16-year-olds, she finally, after about the fourth or fifth question, goes, "Can you just please tell me what to do?" And it's like, "No, baby, I can't. My role is to help you figure out what you need to do that's best for you. That's my
That's
role."
right. That's right.
I think that also transpires as a leader. I think, as leaders of our own organizations, our role is to help our people, be they our people, personnel, and staff, or whatever we want to call them, and or our clients. Our role is to help them best figure out what will work best for them. What's the best path for you to travel? Because your path's going to be different than mine, different than Tony's, different than anybody else. My role is to ask the next best question to get you, should you go right or left at Oak Street? So that's my leadership style. I'm not a desk pounder. I don't need to do that. I think
Right.
you get more results, better results, more positive results if you remember that God gave us two ears and one mouth. Therefore, we should listen twice as much as we speak.
Absolutely. Very good. I love that. How
Thank
about how's your leadership style impacted your network?
Um, I think my leadership style has impacted, and I'm going to be very careful, but I'm just going to say it, and you're going to roll your eyes like you do at me. The people in my network here have begun to call me the Godfather.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
They say, "Scott, you're like the Godfather. You sit, you listen to all of us very patiently. You're very tolerant, and you listen to us, and then you just kind of look at us and go, is that something you can control? If it
Mm-hmm.
is, change it. If it's not, let it go." Or, "Scott, you're the Godfather. As we go through, after we blow all the wind out of our sails, you go, don't worry about it. I know a guy." So I think, my leadership style has impacted my community, my network.
Sure.
Uh, and this is kind of a weird answer because no one views me as the financial guy. They do kind of view me as the Godfather. It's like, hey, if you got a problem, go talk to Scott. Scott will help you figure it out. And I don't mean, I know the Godfather conjures negative stuff,
Right, 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 right.
but that's not how I'm using it. It's kind of like, go talk to Scott. Scott will know, but Scott knows a guy that'll probably be able to help you with that. Um, and a good example, and I don't want to get too far off
Mm-hmm.
track. Um, Working with a couple here, great couple, great business here in Florida. Their books are a mess. First, and they wanted me to help them make some money. I looked at them. I said, the first thing we got to do is get your books in order, because you.
Mm,
So we picked up the phone, called Joe Schauber. Joe,
mm-hmm.
I need you to talk to these folks before I can even before I. They got to know. They got to
Correct.
understand their
Correct.
numbers. So so
Correct.
so that's me, and I think that's how my leadership style, if you will, has impacted my network. I've never wanted to be viewed as the financial guy. I want to be known as, hey, if you have a problem, talk to Scott. He probably knows somebody who
Know
can help you.
somebody. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So what core values drive your decisions as a business owner and a leader? What's your core values?
From a business perspective, let me take you there. Is it legal? you, can we
Well,
do
that's
this?
a good start, Scott.
Yeah, thank you. Is this going to get us sued? But all kidding aside, is it legal? Is it within the scope of the laws and the regulations that I have to operate under in my
Sure.
industry?
Sure.
Number two, is it true to my mission and vision? Does it support my mission and vision, which is in essence to create legacies and help families and business owners achieve their goals? Personally, almost kind of the same thing. One of the things I told my daughters, and I'm sharing with Susie now on the personal level, is please remember, baby, when you walk out that door, you not only represent yourself, but you represent me, you represent mom, you represent grandma, you represent grandma, you represent
Correct.
aunts, aunties, and uncles and cousins. You represent everyone in our family. So personally, that's what I realize, that when I'm out there, not only I'm just not the representative of me. I'm the representative of my family, my mother, my father, my wife, my stepdaughter, my daughters, my siblings. And if I keep that in mind, hopefully I don't act the fool. Hopefully,
Hopefully.
hopefully, hopefully I don't act the fool. And again, like I used to say to my girls and to Susie, it's like, I never want to have to do something, be it personally or professionally, that I can't fully explain to a judge first thing tomorrow morning. So there.
Awesome. Awesome. I know the answer here. So tell me about a time you wanted to give up and what kept you going.
Well, again, let's keep it recent. I think, when you and I saw each other at VNC, you know, I was approaching I was approaching right or left at Oak Street there, um, and I know your personal story was, maybe it's time I go try to find a job, because
Correct.
um, in the business, and you and I have talked about this, so I'm sorry, I don't mean to be repeating stuff that you and I have talked about, but you and I had talked
Yeah,
about,
but the audience hadn't heard it.
right, the
So
audience hasn't heard it, so I got to remember that we're beyond you, and you and I have talked, boom boom, just all the things, trying this, trying that, doing this, doing that, doing this. And so VNC at the beginning of the year, back in January, was, going into VNC, it was like, okay, this is it. If this doesn't work, I'm out. I'm out. I'm done. And I was allowing this, hey, I'm 65. Why am I beating myself up? Blah, 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 blah. However, as VNC can be, um, it also kind of reignited the flame a little bit. And then again, thank you very much, Toni Harris Taylor. You kind of intuitively picked up that I was just putting on the show, because I'm a good enough thespian
yes.
that, that when I'm on the stage, I can put on the show, but everywhere else, it was just kind of like, so you intuitively knew. And again, as I said earlier, you have been supportive, loving, kind, tolerant, patient, and all the other good adjectives that I could throw in there, of really just kind of saying, yeah, it's tough. I get it. And just you and I sharing similar stuff, that it was like, okay, we got to do this. And without that, I don't think I'd be where I am today, kind of. But I think the magic of it is, Toni, and we all know the story is, sometimes you kind of almost hit bottom, or hit bottom, before you
Mm-hmm.
can bounce back up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying I hit a bottom personally or
Mm-hmm.
professionally,
Mm-hmm.
but you know, in theory, I was out of gas.
And so then you ran into these guys through, or rekindled a relationship with the guys
Right.
that you're partnering with now. Um, and it reignites something in you. And that's why leading yourself and showing up, because you never know who you're going to cross paths with, that's going to have another best idea. And
Right.
here they are, and they're getting you way out your comfort zone. And I love that. And so,
Yep.
yes, I cannot wait to meet them, because you needed this. You needed this. And I'm excited for you.
Yes. Oh, thank you. Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
So, what is the best leadership lesson you've learned from rejection or failure?
Again, I kind of go back to my basic premise. I think when I have failed as a leader is when I stopped listening, and I allowed, you know, my emotion to kind of take the forefront for whatever reason. And so therefore it became all about me. Tony's not doing what I want, so I'm going to get angry and I'm going to react emotionally, and I'm going to go off like a Roman candle, which is always interesting. I mean, yes, I do that every once in a while. I know it's hard to believe, and most people go, "Wow, where'd that come from?"
Ah,
Um, um, but in the times in my career where that has happened, it never works out well. It creates more trouble than it's worth. And there's an old saying: a pocket full of data boys goes right out the window with your first oh shit. Yes.
let me see if that came out on the transcription. But that brings me to the next question, and that is, how are you showing up as a leader for your clients? Because you're in a business that's all about leading the horse to the water,
Right.
and they can drink it or not. But how are you showing up as a leader for your clients?
I hope, I hope that I'm showing up as a leader for my clients by simply asking the next best question, by assisting them in coming to their own aha moment, like I
Mm.
like to call it their own aha moment, where just because I keep asking, well, if you do that, what would you like to see? How would that impact? When would you like to see that? Just the who, what, where, when, why, house, to where they come to their own aha moment, to where they look at me and go, oh, Scott, so what you're saying to us is if we maybe do this, that, and this, we could get that, that, and that. And then I get to play Columbo and, go, that sounds like a great idea. So
Helping them
uh,
come to their own conclusion, leading them to
exactly.
their own conclusions.
Yeah, because you know, a lot of times what I'll say to clients, and I know you've heard me say this, is I'm no different than their doctor, their
Correct.
plumber, or their carpenter. I can listen to them, listen to their concerns, and so on and so forth. And then, really, in essence, what I do, just like their doctor, just like their plumber, just like their lawyer, is I get a piece of paper and I scribble some words on it and I push it across the table and say, here's the prescription.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it's still up to them to walk it down to CVS or
Mm-hmm.
Walgreens and fill the
Mm-hmm.
prescription. And
Yeah.
and I've said that to, I guess that's my leadership style. It's like, okay, here's the prescription that I would recommend, but it's still your decision. In my
Yeah.
world, it's not my money. It's still Toni Harris Taylor's money.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
I have to respect her right. I have to respect my client's rights to say, appreciate it, Scott, but I'm not taking the medicine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So, who inspired your leadership style? Who inspired that prescription across the table style versus, trying to force someone to do what you think?
Again, I think my dad, my
Dad?
background,
Yeah.
and again, I don't want to make this a religious thing, but it was, my dad would always finish his sessions, his counseling sessions, if I can use that term, with, well, Tony, would you like to, before we close, would you like to take a moment and pray? Some said yes, some said no. My dad always said okay to either response. If they said, no, thank you, Dr. Bigley, he shook their hands and said, it's been a pleasure meeting you. If they said yes, he would pray with them and then say amen and then shake their hands and say, I wish you the best. So I think that's been the biggest inspiration. All you can do, and again, I don't want to make it religious, but scripture tells us, I will knock on the door.
Correct.
Whether you open it or not is on you.
On you. That's exactly correct.
That's all I can do. That's
That's
all I
all
can
you
do.
can do. Or you can show them the door.
Right,
And
right,
you can't make them knock on the door.
right.
So, what unconventional strategies are helping you to stand out and grow your business?
Yeah, uncon- you know our business pretty well. So our business doesn't react well to unconventional.
Correct.
You know, outwardly, but inwardly, I think what I'm doing unconventionally is I have finally checked my ego at the door, which is
Which is
really
big. Right.
difficult for me. So, bringing in the guys at UFC and Simplicity, my wife Jackie, is on board totally. So in terms, allow me to say it this way: unconventional for me, because you know me a long time, and even back in our day, the little things that you would suggest we do, I always kind of fought you on it until you went, hey, look, dumbbell, if we do it this way, it works better.
Yes.
you
Yes.
know so unconventional for me is really understanding that, yeah, okay, I'm pretty smart. I got some things going on for me, but I ain't all that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So unconventional for me is finally, after 30 years, going, okay, let's try it your way.
I'm excited for this next move because I really do believe this could be the unconventional way, because you've been working from home, and which technically is a conventional way, but for you it's unconventional. You've been
Right.
working from home, now you're going into an office. You haven't had partners, now you have partners. You are, and you're checking your ego, and I can't wait. I'm really excited to see where this is happening.
Well, it's not making me any younger, I can tell you
Well,
that.
and so we got to make some things happen quickly,
That's true. That is
right?
true.
So, what advice would you give someone who is playing small in their leadership?
Check your ego at the door.
That's
I,
the best advice. I know you said
you
it.
know, I'm an old guy, but living proof of that. For how many years? I'm not saying I was always an ego-driven, crazy person, but uh, check your ego at the door. Don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah.
Um, because you're just the only well that you're poisoning is your own. That's really the only when you can't get out of your own way, the only well you're poisoning is your own.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you and I have both experienced it. We look around us and we see colleagues or friends or family members succeeding and da da da, and we're like, well, what,
Right. How's not
what?
fair.
And so don't be like me and take 30 years to figure out. Check your ego at the door. Just
Yes.
check your ego. And that doesn't mean that you're not smart, you're not talented, you're not skilled, that you're not brilliant, that you can't run the business. What it means is you are all those things. You're smart enough and skilled enough and talented enough to know that you can't run the business on your own.
Yeah.
That's all it means.
That's all it means. So awesome. Well, this is our last question. At your
Uh-oh.
funeral, what do you want people to remember about you and the work you've done?
That he put others first. That when Scott sat with a family or a business owner, um, that his concern was, his purpose was to really do everything that he was able to do to help them achieve their goals and their dreams. And that he would apply his skill, his talent, his ability in assisting them in getting there.
Yeah.
And again, I think that, that comes from my family background. That and it doesn't mean I'm a martyr or self-sacrifice. It's about, I came up with kind of, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the one.
Yeah.
Mentality.
Yeah. Tell everybody how to get in touch with you.
Right. Oh, right there. Area code 727-422-7761. foreverforwardfinancial@gmail.com, or our website, which is just about done now. We're rephrasing that, which is just foreverforwardfinancial.com, or you can find me on LinkedIn.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, Scott, I love you. You and I have been on a journey together. I love how you lead. I love how you show up in our network. And I'm just grateful that God brought us together and that I'm your little sister who's the boss.
Yes, you are on both accounts. Toni, I'm not, no, okay, fine, whatever, that's fine. I'm good with that. I'm good with that too.
This is Toni Harris Taylor saying, take a drastic step today for a fantastic tomorrow. And we'll see you soon with another great author from Lead Line.
Let's sing, so yeah, with Toni.